Okay, so here's another page from my Life Loves album, and this one has to do with my love of the ocean, and I have several pictures of me at Cannon Beach, actually, in the Oregon coast. So I've done a similar technique on this page as I have on the previous couple. I'm going to use the same mask that we've been using for the front and the back. In a different way this time, I'm going to use it to kind of look like the water swirls. And then in the background here, I used a smaller circle punch this time. It's 1 1/4 inches. And I punched out some holes along the edge of this paper here from the Junebug collection. And then I did a similar thing for the background, but I tried to make it look kind of like bubbly water. So it was really easy. All I did was put down the gesso, paint over it with the blue, and then just use my pool dabber on top. And I didn't blend it in this time, so then you get the circle effect that you get from the top of the dabber. So it's nice and dry now. I'm going to go ahead and start, I'm going to adhere this paper, and then I'm going to use my Distress inks and also the paint and the dabbers to make this swirl appear very water-like on here. So let's get started. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my masking using my dabber paint, clouding helmet paint, and some Distress ink. Okay, so now the background's totally dry. I am going to use some black pieces of paper that I've just cut out as some kind of swirls around the pictures to kind of look like water. And so since they're black, I'm going to go ahead and just use my white dabber tool and start applying some paint to it so it looks like water and the breakers. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start putting down my layout. I've got my pieces of black paper kind of situated how I want them, and I'm going to use the same kind of foam dots to make some of the parts really stand up and stand out from the layout. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of Distress ink around the edges as well. Okay, so now I've got all my paper piecing done. I've got all the paper here. You can see a lot of it is three-dimensional. I've kind of clipped up the edges to look like waves. I've got my 3 pictures on there. Now I'm going to add a few more of the really cool Basic Gray Junebug Oleo Collection rub-ons again. And the cool thing about these is that they really will add some color to this layout. Okay, so here's my completed sea layout. And you can see it says, "Come to the sea, I come to the sea to breathe," using my Basic Gray stickers. And then with the rub-ons, I just added some extra dabber paint in there to make it black around the edges, and added some to the paper as well. And my last step was to just use a little bit of the white dabber paint on the top. It makes it really look like sea mist there, to have the whole layout.